Throwaway account, of course. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 4 years. We've always been very happy, and it seemed like everything was running smoothly in my eyes, but obviously things didn't work out. For some context, the first year of our relationship we were complicated. We knew we loved each other and wanted to be together the minute we started talking, but his parents wouldn't allow him to date until he was 16, he had just turned 15 at the time, I was 14. So we decided to wait because we really wanted to be together. On his 16th birthday we started dating after a year of talking, being super flirty, but never really being together in person. Although we went to the same high school, we were both way too shy to confront each other. We dove headfirst into our new public relationship. Mind you, the beginning was fairly messy, as everyone knew that we were talking, but other girls still attempted to get under my skin and flirt with him / be extremely physically affectionate with him. I didn't like it of course, but I also couldn't do anything about it since we were not actually together. I told him about how I felt at the time and he told me that he would try to make me feel as comfortable as possible. And he did. He was loving and told me that he didn't want to be with anyone else. Still, some of it continued to happen, even after we started dating for real. After we got out of those situations, things were running fairly smooth. I personally struggle with anxiety, depression, OCD, and ADHD, and at the time didn't have access to medication. I became extremely dependent and he put up with it for almost 2 years. Then he finally told me that he couldn't do it anymore and I needed to lean on others for support. This was around the time of COVID, so I started really taking therapy seriously. I'd been in therapy since I was 13, and I leaned on my family for support with my mental health. After that, we were doing good. We were happy, we had a group of friends that we had fun with, and we were doing pretty good. Then I was informed by a friend of ours that he had been cheating emotionally with someone, NB16 at the time, in our friend group behind my back. He was in an emotional relationship with another person and confided in them about our relationship and personal things about him. This was heartbreaking for me, and I talked to him about it and I put my foot down and told him that I couldn't be in a relationship with him if this was going to continue. He understood and told me that it wouldn't happen again. I had also had my own sets of reservations about this person. I was not oblivious, and I figured something was going on before I was informed, and I tried to express this to him, but every time he would just tell me I was crazy and that it was just my insecurities. The friend group then blew up and we spent a lot of time working on our relationship and my insecurities. After a lot of hard work, we got to a point where I was comfortable with him continuing to make friends, and I was reassured that nothing would go wrong. I trusted him fully. Senior year rolled around and we both were very, very happy. I would say this was the time where we were happiest. I was going through a lot on my own. I dropped out of high school and got my GED at the time, but we got through it together. This summer before college, we both decided to go to the same community college. We went on a trip to Oregon with my parents, and we had an absolute blast. Then college started and we both agreed to make time for each other and for our jobs and our families, etc. That all kind of got lost the more and more we got busy with school. Neither of us had any time to ourselves anymore, which was always really important to him since he's autistic and needs recovery time after hanging out. We tried to compromise using parallel play and other things, but we both became lost and the codependency started up again. I didn't realize it because I was so wrapped up in him, but he did. Last week, we both talked about it and he told me that he needed alone time and for me to work through my insecurities. I agreed, although it was a very hard conversation, and was ready for a fresh start. He told me that night that he never wanted to break up with me and that he loves me and wants to give it a real chance to try again. The next morning he came over as usual, and we went to breakfast with my family. We came back to my house for a minute before he had to go to work, and we cuddled in my bed. Nothing out of the ordinary, and we made plans for him to come over after his shift was over. Then he left and I went to draw and watch a movie. He texted me about 30 minutes later ending things. He told me that the relationship had been emotionally abusive through its entirety and that he couldn't do it anymore. He told me he wasn't trying to guilt me after the conversation we had had the night before, and that he had been talking to his family, his friends, and even a therapist as well as various mental health hotlines. He had never once told or mentioned to me about any of this, and I would constantly tell him that all I wanted from our relationship was communication. He always bottled things up and wouldn't tell me any of his problem or insecurities unless it was too late. I guess all I'm looking for is some advice on how to continue. This is very much not like him. Whenever we would talk about breaking up, he always told me that he would never break my heart like this. And the message he sent breaking things off did not sound like him at all. It almost sounded like someone wrote it for him. And him completely cutting off contact is never something I thought he was even remotely capable of. I'm seeing him in class tomorrow, and I am terrified. I want to talk to him and get a chance to communicate my side and my feelings, but if he says no, it might kill me. Help? TLDR, my boyfriend and I have been together all through high school, and although things have been complicated, he's never done anything like this at all. I am hurt and confused and just want to talk to him, but he cut off contact. I have a class with him tomorrow and I want to talk to him, but I'm really scared. Any advice will help. So we were invited to the wedding of a longtime friend of mine, all the way from high school. The thing is, I'm from Latin America and we live in Europe, where I met my wife and where she is from. The wedding was of course at my home country, where most of my friends still live. We have 2 kids and my wife declined to either come with or leave the kids with the in-laws, or take the kids with. In the end, I went alone, because it's one of the events I wouldn't miss for the world, and she knew that. She is cool like that, and there was no issue on this. To make it short, at the wedding party I was seated with my friends and their partners, and I was the only without a partner, and on the table next to us there was a similar situation, but the single one was a woman. So during the party I was on a good mood, met a lot of people, and also talked shortly to this woman. Some time later, we talked a lot more, and I noticed she was kinda maybe hitting on me. Getting close, grabbing my arm, etc. I broke it off a couple of times, telling her I need to go to the bathroom or get a drink, and would not come back to her. I would find my friends again and dance or whatever. She would find me again after 15 to 20 minutes. I have to say that although my marital situation never came up, I had, of course, my ring on, and since I smoke and hold my cigarette with my left hand, my ring was on my face quite a lot. There is no way she didn't notice. Anyway, after the main party was over and before the much smaller after party began, I told my friends I wanted to leave some of the stuff we got as souvenirs during the wedding in my room. Wedding was at a hacienda hotel, so everything was on site and bolted. Kinda left the woman standing next to me and went to my room. Well, she followed me and asked me to help her because she was tipsy and had high heels. She grabbed my arm and I walked her to her room. She tells me thanks, walks in her room, leaves the door open, and starts undressing. I turn around and start walking to my room, which was just a couple of doors away, and she pops her head out of the door and asks, where was I going? I told her I wanted to leave my stuff in my room and then I would head back to the after party. And she said, okay. That's the last I saw of her. I have had situations where someone flirts with me, not many, but a couple of times. I'm not very attractive but can hold good conversations, but never as hard as this, and never where my wife was not there to make fun of me from the distance and then break it off when she thinks it's enough. I don't really know if it's worth telling her. Cheating was never an option. It was not difficult for me to leave a half-naked, good-looking woman standing there. There was never a threat to our relationship. So my question is, should I tell her? Or should I keep it to myself? TLDR, I got hit on hard at a wedding, overseas, by a very good-looking woman who invited me to her room while getting undressed. I walked away and don't know if I should tell my wife the story or just keep it to myself. I met my current girlfriend in summer school when I was 15. When I had asked how old she was, she said she was the same age. We turned out to only be a few months apart in age, but I was still older. We started dating only a month after we had met. We've now been dating for over a year. The relationship had been pretty good with us only splitting up once for a few days. She's been in multiple family trips with me. This weekend, my family was planning to visit other family in another state and my girlfriend came along as well. The town we were visiting was a small one with shops pretty close together. While on the trip, me and her decided to walk to a store. While we were walking, she told me she had to tell me something and I was going to be pissed when she did. I was confused, so I asked what she had to tell me and kept saying you'll be upset and I don't want you to be upset. I finally told her I was going to be more pissed off if she wouldn't tell me and I promised I wouldn't be upset when she told me. She finally said she'd tell me. She said, "So you know how my birthday is, date?" And I said, "Yeah." I was very confused. She said, "Yeah, well, it's in 2006, not 2005. I asked what and she told me I'm not 16, I'm 15. I kind of lied about my age. My immediate thought was she was lying to me, so I asked if she was, and she in fact was not lying. This was a few days after my birthday, so I'm currently 17, so I felt absolutely disgusted with myself, because I've been kissing and touching a 15-year-old. This may not seem like a big age gap, but I don't like dating people who are younger than me, especially over a year younger than me. Throughout the entire relationship, I've made that clear about other people's relationships. I just think it's weird personally. So I understand a tiny bit why she didn't tell me, but I still feel lied to. I feel hurt. She's been lying to me for over a year now. She was scared I would break up with her. I reassured her I wouldn't, and I don't think I will. I don't know what to do from here on. I now don't feel like I can entirely trust her, but I still love her, so I don't want to break up. So what should I do? TLDR, my girlfriend of over a year lied to me for the entire relationship about her age. She is younger than she told me at the start of the relationship. I was just told and now I don't know what to do.